It's the night shift. I'm your mob boss, Mr. Puckett, alongside Jason Kaplan. Yes, that is the real Jason Kaplan. And ZP, who is fresh off and sucking souls in Deadlock. ZP, we're jumping into the games tonight with Europe once again. What are you excited about?
Honestly, excited to see what has changed with all the mini patches we've gotten over the last week. I think it actually is going to have a tangible impact on the meta. I think some heroes that we haven't seen as much may be coming back into the fray. I'm looking at you, Calco, and maybe even looking at a Victor, but especially looking at maybe the return of Mirage to Europe.
Production. Now, I am using NVIDIA broadcast software that's going to track me when I move. Can you try and center me? See if it can be done at the start
Why
of the
do
show.
you have a name tag on, Puckett?
I found it on a Chipotle jacket, and I thought it would fit at the show because we're all the night shift. I'm employee number 1. Jason, you are actually employee number 0.
Zero?
I do wrap up well. Let's talk about
see
these.
your eyes through the sunglasses, unless that. No, I don't know if that's actually your eyes or not. Can you see that, ZP? You can see like some weird eyes that are definitely not his eyes.
True.
It's the
NVIDIA broadcast software.
Yeah,
It's so creepy.
It's very creepy. It's not Halloween yet.
Okay. It's not Halloween yet. We're going to get there. Now, tonight's show, I'm going to stare into your soul more than Jason Kaplan because that's what this software does. I can look anywhere in the room. It still makes it look like I'm looking at the camera, Jason.
Not there. You look a little cross-eyed the farther you went.
Little hammered right now. We're jumping in with the European teams, though. And ZP, for anyone who hasn't seen the show, how does the format work here on the night shift?
Well, the format is pretty straightforward. We have our challenger match, which is a best of 1, and the winner gets to go on to play against the champion of last week in a best of 3. We go out of our way to reach out to the top teams in each region. In this case, kicking off with EU, where Abrahams and Buff Enjoyers have basically been in a back and forth tug of war to be kings of Europe, and feels like every week we see another chapter saga added of great Deadlock gameplay. But there's always the potential of Abrahams getting knocked out in the round of 1, even though it hasn't happened here just yet.
Oh boy, tonight is going to be fun. Shout out to everyone in the chat, especially the early birds. Let's get it. We got to take a look at these teams. Kaplan, who do you like on team number 1? The Abrahams have been the reoccurring challengers. They are the team that everyone knows and loves. They're probably going to the finals, right? But who's going to get them?
We said the early bird gets the worm, and maybe Abrahams could be the team to get the worm today to get into the finals once again. But if I'm going to talk about anyone on the team, I mean, how do you not talk about ABL? I think you almost have to talk about him because he's always that explosive player for the team, whether it's on Pocket. We even got to see him, I believe, on Shiv last week, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much any of the heroes he kind of touches always has that carry potential that you need to see out of these teams. But honestly, I almost at some points don't want to talk about him because I'd almost rather talk about Saint, because I feel like Saint's been just solid on any hero he's ever played in the night shift or even in DFN back in the days. Pretty similar to Obi Kim. I would definitely put him on the same kind of level, but such a strong player and a selfless player for the team.
See a lot of talk right now about some Mirage play. Of these 6, who would be the Mirage main for the team, ZP?
In terms of who'd be playing Mirage, there's a world where you could put Jamside on it, where realistically speaking, Jamside is going to be the person to get thrown on the hero that is going to farm most of the game and then come in later and be a force. But I would assume it would be Jamside. I think there's also a world where, depending on what you're valuing, you could put ABL on it. I wouldn't expect to see Task together or Saint on it, though, given the roles that they normally play. But, realistically, if I had to go, maybe Jamside, but that would only be if they don't get something like an Infernus first.
Let's take a look at their opposition for the evening. Abrahams have always made it to the grand finals. If you've been watching the start of Night Shift, they've been there 8 of the 9 times, if not 9 of 9, if they get there this evening. Space, Bean, Ruben, Crow, my names, and Kevin in their way. As we take a look at the lineup, I've seen Space. Bean has made an appearance on the show. What else do I need to know about this lineup, ZP?
Honestly, this lineup, we don't have as much data as some of the other teams have come to play, but we got them in because they had a pretty good scrim record the last time they played. And, while they did lose in the Challengers match, this is still a team that, has some decent promise on mechanical skill level. Despite their logo they chose, these are all Eternus players. Do not be fooled. Initiate not quite enough. But, to me, it's kind of one of those potential teams of maybe this will be the week where they've just been in the training room long enough to make an impact. Also, it's best of one. Anything can happen, even against a team as good as Abraham's.
It will be a quick game, potentially. We've seen them go as fast as 18 minutes and 18 seconds, as long as 38 minutes. Predictions
Throwing a lot of
tonight,
numbers at me
Kaplan.
right now. You're throwing so many numbers at me that my
How
head
close?
can't,
Okay, there's a 20-minute gap between our longest game on night shift and our fastest. We'll simplify it for the middleman. How long does
How about
this
we
game
make a
go?
deal? Do you want to make a deal, Puckett? No, and
the
ZP.
devil?
All three of us. Do we want to make a deal here?
Okay.
You have to
Whoever's
show your hands on
closest.
camera, whole show.
No, whoever's closest
Okay.
to predicting how long this match lasts, even if going over, the furthest has to cut a slit in their eyebrow.
One
No.
slit?
One slit, and it has to be visible. It can't just be like a little, oh, I separated my eyebrow hairs and oh, there's a slit. No, you have to.
I haven't
slit.
signed the Call of Duty League contract yet. Can we wait for the ink to dry? Give me 2 weeks and then I'll make you this bet. Let's. Yeah, I'm in.
fine.
Fuck
We can
it.
wait. We can
Fuck
delay.
it. I'm
We
in.
can
I'm
delay.
going 22-30.
22:30. Okay, ZP.
I'm
price
not
is right
in
you
on the
both, so.
eyebrow business.
No, no,
That's
big-
one thing I
Oh,
will
come
not touch,
on.
but I will
No,
say
you
my
don't get to
prediction.
predict.
My prediction's 23 minutes.
I don't even want to
22-30,
bother.
he goes 23 minutes. Okay.
if we're not all in
what
this
was your
together
Price is
doing
Right
predictions-
answer here?
It was 22, 30, and 23, so 22, 45, right? I mean, slightly right
Oh
in
my
between you
Right in the
guys.
middle. Wow, you guys are all playing it safe, and I am the thought leader on this process, chat. You guys are all screwed. We've got our teams, we've got the matchup, and we've got our friends at Intel backing us up once again. Thank you, Intel, for supporting the night shift. We're going into episode 9, and we've already dished out some serious cash. ZP, when we started this thing, the crowd had to source the money. We took it from their wallets, and we gave it to the players. Now Intel is guaranteeing the $1,000.
That's right. We couldn't be able to do this level of prize pool without the support of Intel. Intel, one of the first and biggest friends of the Deadlock competitive scene. Cannot thank Intel enough for just how much they've helped foster the competitive scene over the past year, where you stop and think about it. We've now just sort of hit our 1-year anniversary of doing shows as a broadcast team overall. I mean, the names may have changed, but in terms of people doing competitive Deadlock broadcasts, this format essentially has existed for about a year now.
That's pretty crazy. You guys are at the very front of it all, and Deadlock is getting bigger and better every week. This matchup is coming up, though, in just a moment, and we've got our picks and bans ready to go. You're banned first over there if you're a bot. What are we getting rid of? What's the Abraham's biggest
Kelvin.
threat? Gun Ivy?
Kelvin.
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 I agree.
Sure, Kelvin.
Their Kelvin Shiv combo is the scariest in the game that we've seen so far, ZP.
Yeah, and case in point, Kelvin ban immediately comes on through. Now for Abraham's,
seen
what
this.
they're going to ban in turn.
I read the script.
Yeah, you got a few options that they could go with here. My question is, do you value something like banging the Ivy? Do you get rid of the GT? I don't know if GT holds the same level of prio after some of the nerfs he got, especially when things like Infernus are really, really good here at the moment, when things like Mirage are good. Instead, they take out the Viscous, so GT is free to be used if they wish to do so later in the draft.
If I remember correctly, it wasn't on paper that big of a hit on Great Town. It was like a 0.01 change to his spirit scaling on his charge shot.
It works out to
And
be
then
about 10%.
the tier 3 reduced by actually, sorry, it's 0.11. Never mind. I can't read and do math correctly. Like I said, Puck got me confused with numbers. So actually, it was pretty
You're
decent
welcome.
of a hit. Thanks for that one. So yeah,
Shout out to Twiggy, by the way, our 616th Prime subscriber. If you have Prime, put it to use for free. Look at the numbers on your screen, and while we wait on big information to roll in, you guys could get a free little emblem next to your name. If you have Prime, you have a free sub to this channel. We got a Paradox locked in and Abrams locked in, and the Squishy Goo guy will not be on the map. They don't want to deal with the Viscous. Is that a respect pick, or is that a composition that they're just trying to avoid on the evening, Kaplan?
I mean, Viscous also had some tweaks trying to nerf the alt fire out of him, which was something that worked really well with his spread shot, which made him have a ton of damage. I almost want to say it's kind of a precursor to them wanting to maybe pick like a Mo and Krill at some point as well, who did have some tweaks on top of him.
As I'm looking at here, the Infernus getting picked early, not too much of a surprise. Some of the Scrimbucks were saying Infernus was getting picked higher and higher over the course of the week. I think the explanation given to me was that the shop changes really worked in his favor, and also people just valuing carries a little bit more with changes both shop and spiritual overflow. But Mirage comes in for bots, so the Mirage stock's definitely up, which is no surprise to anyone who's done any form of pubbing in the last week or so.
Okay, so 4 weeks ago, Mirage not picked at all. Last 2 weeks, he's been in the mix. Why is Mirage a bigger threat now than ever, ZP? If I'm just coming into Deadlock, what does he do? What should we expect from this character?
The biggest change is that Jin's Mark now gets impacted by CDR items. So if you get items like Spiritual Overflow, you can apply stacks of Jin's Mark a lot quicker, and it makes him a much bigger threat in the mid to late game when his itemization comes online in terms of just
you
the
get a
raw
bunch of marks, and then it pops, and it's kind of like burst damage, and Mirage is going to take you down. You got Billy locked in on the other side. Shiv is here without the Kelvin. Does it work, Kaplan? What other friends do you pair with him?
I don't think you need to pair anything necessarily in particular with them. I think just Kelvin
hanging out with those losers
makes him stronger than he already was because the extra sustain he gets. I have to kind of like brush my memory back to see if he was altered at all in the latest patch, and from what I can quickly see, he wasn't too much. But it's just all around going to be a solid pick for Together, I'd say. He always goes the dagger build, the serrated blades, and then builds towards spirit to be like a frontline kind of tanks and spirit power. In the past has been really strong, though. I don't know if it's as strong anymore, ZP, going into these tweaks. I feel like they did tone down spirit a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they hit spirit a little bit and also buffed gun on the later end. I mean, a lot of the gun changes come into play more so at later stages of itemization. Like once I think you feel the most impact when you're at like 28k of items invested in the gun. But it does mean that, your late game options do trend a little bit more towards having at least one or two gun people on your team. And speaking of gun people, I think, well, this is interesting for Abraham's actually, because Jamside is probably playing the Infernus, but now you also have an Ivy, so you have two characters that you'd normally be funneling your late game carry farm to here.
ABL's going to be Infernus, I think, for sure. Just knowing that he plays a very similar kind of role as Hoot does over in Buff Enjoyers. But I'm curious to see, like, he's going to go like the Hoot build, because if you guys didn't catch it, ZP did put up the Hoot build on Infernus that we saw last week over on our public Discord. Right. If you want to check that out, you can type ! Discord. And I did play it today, ZP. I played it actually before these games, and we won. Coincidence?
No. Hoot knows the shit. Can we take a moment, though, and give a shout out to our casters from last week? Uber Shouts was so good at doing something that you guys suck at tonight. That's calling out the community subs. Can we give a shout out to Jack's Libido in the building, dropping 5 already? As soon as we shouted out Prime, we got Toenail Nibbler coming in. Oh, you freaking weirdo. Welcome in, you little nibbler. We got Eternal Salt. We got Custard with 4 Ds. Steady Slabbin is in the building. Callisto, Master Uguay. And then the Libido is rock hard saying, I can't wait to see Puckett slit.
Also, speaking of slipping and sliding, we got Viper getting played, and Viper got some pretty big reworks on her screw jab dagger in particular that may, it's hard to tell because it was a pretty big set of changes, but I think it's something that could make Viper a lot more deadly in general, and clearly
we haven't seen a Viper.
But this draft is kind of ridiculous where you think about farm, you'd want Viper to get farm, Ivy to get farm, and Furnace to get farm. Like
I think the Saint's gonna be on the Viper. I don't know why. I feel like because I think Viper does have the potential to be similar to the new Vindicta with the shred that she has on her screw jab dagger. And the thing is, if you played Viper in the past, you would never really use that ability because it was pretty much useless to spend your time actually using it in a fight. But now, it gives you extra slow duration. It gives you the recharge on max level if you hit it. Also, there's a stacking bullet resist. Negative bullet resist, taking away the bullet shred, I should say. I wouldn't be surprised to see like Viper paired as like kind of a supporty hero nowadays.
Can we get a Viper pick rate chat? If
3 times
in the Discord, 3 times on 9 shifts.
That's my quick guess.
I don't think I've ever seen it, and I came in on shift 2, so I'm thinking there's been 1 Viper pick on night shift.
We've had 7.
What week
total.
was it? Was it week 1? 100% win rate.
Yeah, I feel like it was Hydra Nation that picked it. And the weirdest thing about that game where Hydra Nation played Viper is that Viper basically didn't do anything. Like Hydra Nation effectively won the game off the other heroes. Yeah, Leffa was on Viper, and we looked at Leffa on camera like maybe 2 times the entire game. What I will say,
can we get a little Viper cam? Sorry, go ahead, Zeeps.
We glossed over it, but also Calico in general is kind of a stat monster right now. Like if you've played against Calico recently, she's gotten like buff after buff after buff, and in general, she's a very like just powerful hero in general at the moment in terms of being able to get in and out of fights and get meaningful trades. And I think the buffs may have just hit a point where, okay, we're now valuing Calico more, because I don't think it'll just be bots that's going to show Calico here tonight.
Guys, is this just a comp choice from both teams, or is this no longer a gank meta? I feel like I haven't seen a Hollywood. I feel like we haven't seen a Bebop. I haven't seen any of these characters that you guys told me were like really good because they would just grab you and bring you to their team.
I think this is just the disrespect play of Abraham's, honestly. I don't think this is a fully serious comp out of them. I think they're going to this knowing that they're probably going to win this match. And they're definitely a team who's been extremely cocky, thinking back to the initial well playeds with ABL over on 1 win. I don't think this is necessarily a comp they would run up against Buff Enjoyers, but ZP, I don't know if you would agree with that.
It's hard to say. I mean, I think week to week, like we do have big meta changes. So like the very first game, I try to reserve judgment to see where things are at in case we're missing something. I mean, Abraham's, as you kind of talked about, went pretty heavy on the shred here. Bots, meanwhile, decide, okay, we don't want a Bebop or a Holiday, or a Mo, like heroes you would generally have in the playmaking role. And, realistically, when you look at their pick potential for bots, they're basically relying on their front line. They're relying on Abrams and Billy to be a lot of we're going to catch people out this way, with Calico providing general pressure. But it's different than having an option for like a hook or a lasso or a combo that usually teams consider to be critical. So it's a different look from bots also.
Do we have any whales in the chat? I've been in Vegas. I'm coming in flush, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready to get weird. I will put 10 gifted down if Viper is our MVP for the Abrahams. Is there anyone else willing to back it up with a 5 or a 10 gifted for a specific character? Who do you think is going to carry the lobby? Or who do you want to cheer for, I guess is the best way to put that. ZP, is there anyone on the bot side that you think is a threat on any of the heroes that have been locked in?
Yeah, in terms of where it's going to go, I mean, I'd be looking at their captain Bean, not necessarily like which hero they're going to be on, but just, I remember seeing Mechanical play is that bots actually looked reasonable in the laning phase. It's just a matter to me if bots can keep it together as you get into mid game and late game, where, probably the most improved area Abrahams has been over the last few months in comp, and why they always go back and forth with Buff Enjoyers is that even if Abrahams has a tough early game, they can usually pull it back in the later stages of the game. Whereas, to me, it's kind of the hallmark of a lot of your up-and-coming teams that they will play the laning phase pretty good at times and then fall apart at the other stage of the game.
Right.
That, your top teams have just polished to perfection.
Where the teamwork starts to weigh in, especially around those major objectives. Guys, this is going to be a fun one. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes making it happen. We got Solomon at the helm, our executive producer, Lotos and friends on the keyboards, making sure we're up and running. We've got some incredible stuff coming down the line as well from Trolley. In fact, if you didn't have enough Deadlock, Jason Kaplan, we've got more coming their way.
Do we? I don't know. Do we? If I remember correctly, we were just teasing it now and not actually announcing anything until later.
What do you mean? Just tease the fact that we have a partner, or that we have a show coming?
Who knows?
They sent me candy. I'm pretty sure Trolley is going to be the partner, guys. I'm pretty sure.
Proof. I have no proof.
I'm almost positive. I'm gonna get fired before the show's over. Screw it. That's what we do here. It's a community show. It's for the people. They gave me candy. I'm already jacked up. It's gonna be an extra special weekend coming your way as we will reach out to our friends at NA and EU as we always do here on the night shift. But for now, we focus on the $2,000 up for grabs. $1,000 for EU, $1,000 for NA. Abrahams has contested. They have won it 4 times. Can they get a 5th crown? They got to get through the bots. ZP, are we about to get in this game?
Right now, we're waiting for the players to get fully into the lobby. This is a weird misstep for you. EU's usually prompt and timely, and they're taking a little bit of extra time in this instance. But in terms of what I would expect nothing less than for Abrahams to get through and for us to get another day where we go to 3 maps in the money match. Because look, you look at things historically, that's usually where we go. However, it is clearly a different meta than what we've seen the last few weeks based on the draft. And as a result, anything can happen in one game where, you're looking at the Abrahams draft. It's quite a bit different than what we've been seeing recently. And if the Abrahams read is wrong, it's only one game. So they could get knocked out if their read is catastrophically wrong. So I'm curious to see how this pans out.
I don't like this. I don't like Puckett staring at the camera the entire time with this technology. It is freaking me out. And creepy. How am I supposed to win a staring contest with this man? But did you know last week, Puckett, we did break 1,000 subs on the channel. It's just this is our 1 month since we had a sub button. So we dropped like 400 subs because of it.
I was gonna say we're now back down to 627, but we were looking flush there for a moment. We were there with the thickness. Also, I just got my first ever night shift paycheck. I was like, is this real, Jake? He's like, yeah, we actually get paid on the show now. So thank you all who are supporting the show. I am putting it all in a little Disney fund to take my 3-year-old who gives up her Wednesdays to let me hang out with you guys. Let's talk a little bit about Jack Sklebita, though, because he just keeps gifting stuff. And now we have the Prime subs coming in. The Prussian Pancake is here. Bella Tick is here. We got Trax DL hanging out with the sub button now. Jester DM, Chesco L, BillyWitch.com. Thanks for being here. Jason Kaplan, you desperate bastard. He's prepaying in the future, guys. He's guaranteed 2 months. And of course, we've got a whole lot more friends, including a 5 gifted from Anthropocene GL. Thanks for all being a part of the night shift crew. You guys and your support. We love it, and we hope you guys enjoy the show tonight. We're waiting on the players. I'm trying to buy time for these freaks, but they're taking forever. Go ahead, hit me with it.
Don't worry. You don't need to go on here, okay? If I screw on the lid to a jar so tight that I can't unscrew it, am I very strong or am I very weak?
I'm gonna go with weak.
Yeah, weak.
Yeah, because and you have no stamina, which we knew already.
Stop talking to my wife, first of all.
No one ever judges your strength by how you screw a jar together. It's just, can you open the jar or not? And not being able to open the jar always looks weak. That's fine.
Also, like, what are the chances that Jason's jar is like a little bit gross on the outside? It's got like that spill, and then that creates like that ultra viscousy stuff that then just hardens and it becomes unpliable. So it wasn't the fact that you were strong, you were just disgusting, and now your creepy ass jar is just staying closed, and we should probably not try and open it.
I like the way you went with this. That was not what I expected, but you know what? I should have learned that I should not expect the expected when it comes to Puckett. I should try to expect the unexpected. I'm so
aggressive tonight. It's the testosterone. Tristero, thank you for joining the crew. Remy the Ruler, thank you for joining the crew.
So we're having a lot of fun. Talk about this. You know what?
Yeah,
we're talking about the subs, but the real interesting part of the show for me, ZP and Puckett, is coming into the NA portion. Like the fact that Hydra Nation is now technically dead, which has been the longest standing team by name in Deadlock.
Are they technically dead, or are they just like on a hiatus, like a band that broke up and they'll have their reunion tour?
3 went to Sneaky Golem, and 3 went. Well, 3 haven't gone another team yet. I think Low Main might not even be planning to play competitive anymore. I don't know. His stream tiles have been very depressing lately. ZP.
Yeah, low main right now, basically stepped back. Leffa is currently not on a team. So for all the people that leave content on YouTube about the Leffa hate watch, well, there's no Leffa hate watch this week, but hopefully continue the watch regardless. But yeah, from Hydra Nation was Hydration, Rocane, and AVG that went to go team up with Rocker, Golem, and League on what is officially Rocker's team in Sneaky Golem, which is why they're not called Hydra Nation. And I was specific there. I was like, you guys have 3 Hydra Nation members. Why not keep the name Hydra Nation? And the response is, it's Rocker's team, therefore it's Sneaky Golem.
It's cursed name anyways these days. It's time to rebrand for them because they got the Grim Reaper of North America is what they became. But I do wish the best of luck to all the players on those teams and wherever they eventually do go. But it's nice to finally have Sneaky Golem back. More importantly, it's nice to have Goober back, and even more important, it's nice to get into the game finally here, Puckett.
Shout out to the 1200 on Twitch. We've got even more growing over on youtube.com/Deadlock Night Shift coming at you every Wednesday. It's EU. Let's get into it. Who moves on to the championship match?
All right, Jason.
AB was on Viper.
Yes, I was going to say, it's Jamside on the Infernus. Jamside just basically says, I want to be the guy, the farm for the late game. You can't take this away from me. And ABL is who's on the slip and slide, and it's Saint on Ivy. So is this the end of Gun Ivy and the return of support Ivy? Jason, I think that may be the case.
Real quick, if there is anyone down to do a bounty, if ABL on the Viper earns MVP for this game, I'm dropping 10 gifted. Feel like matching it or one-upping me? I dare you, chat.
You won't do 25 gifted pucket. You won't.
Wow.
And clearly he won't.
Well, I think he stepped away after he said that there. So I'm not even sure he heard, the jab at the very end. But taking a look at these lanes, Mirage getting put here into the middle along with Abrams. So we'll see how this pans out against the old Paradox Vindicta setup. And also just how Vindicta is played here. Vindicta is still going to be built more in the support style that she was when she was permanent first pick, first ban, or if Vindicta gets played a little bit more towards, a carry role.
I'd imagine it's a carry role with South playing. And already off the bat, Crow does go down to Jam side as they get aggressive with Infernus and Viper together in the left-hand side. But yeah, I mean, if it's Saf on Vindicta, I don't expect it to whatsoever be like a support. I think it's gonna be more towards, I don't know, Gun or Spirit, because like we were talking with was it Poshy Pop and Theorize? I think it's Poshy Pop theorizing like a Spirit Vindicta might be back if you go for that Assassinate Max instead of Crows.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I still think Vindicta carries a certain level of power in the early to mid game, just in what you get from Assassinate as soon as ults come online. I mean, she definitely got hit in relative to her old support build, but we'll see. Goes for the Rusted Barrel as the first item pickup here, which definitely is not Suppressor.
I mean, it helps with Mirage.
Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, I guess technically can help with Abrams a little bit. So if they want to get aggressive, though, I think in their lane, they're just trying to survive it. I wouldn't imagine a Vindicta Paradox would be looking for kills whatsoever in this lane, which is kind of interesting because I would think normally you would want to put people that you want to go for kills and you want to get aggressive in towards that middle lane to get those early towers to rotate between different sides of the map.
Also looking at ABL's build, the early extra charge, Screw Jab Dagger, yes, is what I'm getting as I look at that. And it seems to be, a way more aggro lane than I would have expected. Though, speaking of aggro right now, Bean running for his life down here in mid as Jamside picks up another kill. This left lane has been a disaster for bots.
I want to ask you a very hard-hitting question here, ZP, because I will take this with a pinch of salt. Is it the heroes right now for Abrahams that's being so overpowering for bots, or is it just Jamside and ABL?
I mean, Jamside usually isn't that explosive in lane. I mean, usually Jamside's in lanes that tend to be a little bit neutral, so I'm willing to chalk up a good amount of this to ABL finding some secret sauce on Viper.
Well, I'm here to see how it's going to play out here. I'm curious to see as well what kind of build he exactly goes for. As we have a dive under the tower. I was on the right-hand side, little quick parry to the Guardian. Back to ABL here. He's got improved. Was that improved Spirit as well with the extra charge? So definitely looking for the one. I can never remember the name of the one because it's so wonky to me. The Screw Jab Dagger. Try to say that five times fast.
Screw Jab Dagger. Screw Jab Dagger. Screw Jab Dagger. Screw Jab Dagger. Screw Jab Dagger.
No, but faster. Yeah. That wasn't that fast.
Oh, come on.
Nothing you can do is ZB. Go.
I'll wait for the right time. But also, man, oh man, Drow getting burnt to a crisp off on the left-hand side. And that's a Yamato Calco lane, by the way, too. A lane that I would have rated pretty strong on paper. Trying to take the battle back to Jam side here. Running some real danger. And now you take a look at the Calco end and can't get away. Absolutely brutal.
Oh my god. The Petrify coming around the corner for the kill too. ABL at 4.2 thousand souls. Got the Imp Spirit picked up already. And he is going to go shopping here. Is that Guardian probably to be going down in the next few moments as well if Gemside wants to continue to push it out. So far the bot's left lane with the Yamato and the Calico, played by Crow and Kaven, just getting absolutely demolished. And if you need them to be part of your front line, which I guess you technically don't need them as a front line, but if you need them to assassinate, you're not going to be getting that for a very long time.
Also, the ability to just do anything in that lane is effectively gone. When you're down nearly 2k souls this early, against your lane opposition, you are going to get bullied, and it is long past your point to be able to do anything about it. Realistically speaking, for bots, you have to assume it's going to be gone, and that's where it is. But also, speaking of gone, quick little charge onto Saf. Saf just going to back out. Not too worried about the situation here. Time wall going to go down as bots try to make something happen in the mid lane.
Go to the chase here out of space, looking for Sane, who we actually will get the kill onto. So finally, we do see bots start to strike back here. And to be fair, it's not that big of a lead at the moment. Only 2K difference between the teams. So it's not as crazy as it maybe seemed over on the left-hand side. But ABL, you just imagine over time is going to become more and more fed. Already at 5,000, and with Jam set at 5.5K because he did get some solo farm when ABL went back to go heal. This is I feel like it's not as close as it looks on paper at the moment, ZP.
No, and I think you really have to look at the specific difference for the heroes in lane, because once this Guardian goes down on the left, the ability to take the win on left and turn it into advantages on the other lanes is going to be really high. Also, the fact you think about late game win conditions, your Infernus getting a big leap up on the game is huge. Swap though in the charge, but it's not going to be enough to turn into an immediate kill, just a little bit of Guardian pressure.
Well, speaking of pressure, ABL gets another kill. This is on the left-hand side. Kaven dies yet again. Almost taking out ABL, to be fair, considering he's almost 2,000 souls ahead of his opponents in this lane. So it came down to a very close fight, but unfortunately for bots, not going to be working out here. We can see Jam side, Imp Spirit, Swift Strike. I'm curious if he's going to go towards like the capacitor build that we saw Hoot go for, or if he's going to play more of a standard like Jam side kind of item build where he goes like very damage oriented instead of more not supporty, but more survivability.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think for how Jam side goes, oh my god, the ABL rotation now off to the right side, that feels bad, where you have this turbo farmed Viper that now can go to the lane that was winning, overpower, get the Guardian down. This was the best lane that bots had going here, and the Petrifying Bola comes out and Ruben just gets cut down. This is the problem when you lose one lane this badly, is that lane can then go and infect every other lane, Jason, and just cause this sort of domino effect.
I like infect because of Venom out of ABL with the Viper. But I'm not seeing the MVP so far for ABL if they win. I'm still thinking towards Jam side, so I don't know if Puckett's gonna be getting those 10 subs in out of himself.
The fact said he's gonna match it, so if I do 10, he does 10.
Let's go, Viper. You're confused me because you're messaging me saying like don't pick ABL so I don't have to spend 10 subs.
That doesn't sound like Puckett at all.
I totally wouldn't message you on the side to save myself $50. Please don't win.
I don't think you would message me on the side, period, to be fair. But ABL, he's over towards the mid lane. You can see diving pretty much past the Guardian there, looking for some damage over onto My Names, who's been forced to go back to base. And both these two heroes just gonna be floating in the sky until eventually Bean does come crashing to the ground. And ABL, he joins the party once again, looking for the kill, and he'll have it paired in with Saf.
ABL is making Viper look absolutely terrifying, to the point that I do wonder how much this has been accounted for in draft strategy from buff enjoyers as they're looking at this here and maybe going, wait a second, do we now have to change up our draft strategy to not let ABL get the lizard? Because this has been ridiculous. I mean, part of it is now ABL got a ridiculous start on the game from higher farm in the left lane from how much they won it, but in a way, Viper is already at raid boss status and you're 9 minutes into the game, Jason.
The thing is, Viper, she's still so susceptible to CC, and it's still relatively easy just to lock her down and kill her. So, I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of like call it A and B in this one with how the game's played out. ABL making Viper look really good at the moment. But we still have a fight kicking off here and towards middle. Both teams pretty much loading up and getting ready for a fight. It's just Space to be the one to send back to base, and they're looking for this last Guardian. They're going to have it. I don't really see a way the bot should be able to contest this.
No, it's not going to happen. Also, left-hand side, I mean, Jam side, just taking solo lane farm in this situation, looking to add on to his souls. First to hit 5 figures at 10K. And look at another, you have 2 lanes crashing together on the left-hand side, and Jam side's going to get all of that farm here, Jason, as Bean is again getting terrorized. Wait, ABL, charge comes in. Bean nearly flips it, but not enough.
He's at 3.4k souls as well. Really want to see what he's going to be buying up for next. And actually, so far, what we are seeing out together, he actually picked up Rebuttal an item that obviously has been recently changed, giving melee resist now, which is very effective against Space and Beam, playing the Billy and the Abrams. Interesting to see it actually being picked up here.
Well, the stance on rebuttal I heard from several players is that it's just really good stats-wise right now. The main penalty you get for picking up rebuttal is the fact that it takes an item slot. But while slots aren't an issue, it's an efficient item, even if you're not getting benefit from the parry end. But also, you're up against a Billy. Having rebuttal lets you throw out parries a little bit more often and not get severely punished for it. And the reward for actually hitting a parry is, of course, tremendous.
Yeah, very, very big and very instrumental for Billy and even an Abrams to some extent. Also, not to mention Calico, who picked up the lifesteal. Well, speaking of Billy, Space does get finished off here with another kill coming through. Together at 8.5 thousand souls. Champside's on 13k. My lord, he is so far ahead that I don't think you can send anyone in his lane. And maybe not even any two people to stop him. But this is going to be at least a nice take out of the urn, since it's going to be on their side of the map, blocking this one in for an extra 3k souls.
Yeah, I mean, you get the comeback end of the urn here, which is nice, but the rest of the map, there's just no control from bots. They are still reeling from what was effectively a destruction in the left lane that spread to the other lanes. They still haven't been able to get their flex slot from the Guardian because right Guardian is still up from Abraham's. But the bigger issue is when you look at the map, the amount of invading that Abraham's has been able to get away with here from their pressure and their lead is ridiculous. And oh, the benefit from rebuttal, Kaon gets hit. And also, that's worth noting is that you'd think, oh, you're getting it for the Billy. Calico tries to throw in a lot of quick melees and, you know, get extra melee damage in. If you actually nail her with a parry, it shuts her down.
I mean, yeah, there's like 3 different heroes I'm looking at in particular. Even Ruben, depending on what kind of build Sinclair's going for, where we did normally see the melee charge build on top of it once you pair in with a Hex. Get that extra reload for yourself. We did have a Veil Walker picked up for ABL, so obviously with the changes to Veil Walker, interesting to see if it's going to be as played as much as previously in the last few weeks, where it doesn't give you as much healing and has a little bit longer of a cooldown on top of that. But I don't really think the cooldown nerf is that big of a deal. I think it was like 1 or 2 second change.
The big change of Veil Walker is that Veil Walker is a lot less attractive to rush as your first item. I think in the mid and late game, it still maintains a lot of its power. Also, speaking of maintaining power, ABL just continuing to carve up the map wherever he's at right now. 400 HP. Get hit a little bit here by Yamato, but again, the dive is still rough to do. I mean, near tower, you know, outmanned at the very end. I mean, maybe you get it, but it just does not pan out.
Looks like Jamside is going to be going for that capacitor build that we did see last week when Infernus was played for the first time in, honestly, felt like forever. If I'm not mistaken, Saint even has Tesla bullets too. So is he even really playing supporty here, or did I just misunderstand what item he had picked up? But this Mirage, my names might fall down from just the ticking damage over time, or just ABL and Saf coming from the side to continue the fight.
And again, this has been Bean versus ABL, where I feel like half the clips we've seen of ABL has just been chasing down good old Big Blue. But it does look like it's going to be a disengage from bots here. Bots, of course, is trying to get a little bit of pressure onto the left lane. Space, meanwhile, getting caught in the right. And, you know, at 84k to 66k, Jason, you start wondering what your win conditions are for bots. And the win conditions are pretty narrow, especially given the fact that a lot of their pick potential was based on their front line being competitive. And with this level of soul gap, you're not getting that much pressure from either your Abrams or your Billy in creating those pick opportunities.
But is Viper looking like an MVP yet?
Nah, I'm still not feeling it.
Yes.
I'm still thinking Jamside. 17k. I mean, he's just been this threat that left lane. He's not allowing anyone to get that free farm to keep him in check. You know, I don't know if I can feel it. Maybe if I give him my PayPal, we can change my mind.
Look, if Jamside is a car, who do you think paved the road that Jamside is driving on right now? It's ABL. ABL did the paving. He was out there on the construction crew. As we see together, gets hit with a parry, but clearly not really a big deal either way as Sinclair continues to tick down.
Another paradoxical swap coming through. It looked a little bit weird from what I saw, but it looks like it actually was used just to get away to safety. And well, safety is something that Together is trying to find as he does get charged into the wall, but he gets the parry onto one. Of course, the rebuttal is going to save him some time, but he is bleeding away here. He should be falling in just a few seconds. No health remaining. He eventually dies just from the bleed out, and Caitlyn gets a kill onto together. Maybe there's a chance for bots to turn this around. As we can see, Ruben's not here to defend this one. Jamsite keeps pushing the left-hand lane to get a free walker. And eventually, Abrahams will still come out ahead in this fight.
Can we get some updated prediction, boys? The chat said at 13 minutes, this game is over. So what time do we think it ends in favor of Abrahams?
I mean, it may end on the earlier aside. The way things are going here at the moment, they're about to have their second walker down. And when you get this far ahead, you start questioning on maybe we can just force mid-boss. What are they going to do to stop it? Where we didn't even talk about this because we haven't seen a whole lot of Viper get played, but Petrifying Bola is also one of the stronger abilities to control mid-boss. When you're looking for, to make sure you get every charge and deny people from coming in the contest, yeah, you got to secure on the other side, but Bola itself, I mean, we've seen get used to great effect at mid the few times we have seen Viper if you go into the deep, dark Deadlock past.
He doesn't have it maxed yet, which is where he really needs, or she really needs for it to be like super effective in towards middle. You can see they're only able to stun up Bean as Caven just made quick work of ABL. But I mean, obviously the paradoxical swap coming through. Caven, you might get one kill, but you're not gonna get away with much more than that. Keeping things equal at 1-to-1 trade, and very quick rotation of Abrahams here to defend this. At least keep it equal for now. Even maybe looking for more, because Jam's on the left-hand lane. He's in that 1v1 against My Names. And, well, his names is dead.
You can't even really look at Infernus at this point if you're bots, if you are a solo player. There is not a single character on bots that can take Jamside in a 1v1. And truthfully, Jamside is so far ahead from the combination of how the early lane went to just being left to his own devices and left this entire time that you almost have to bring 3 if you want to take down Jamside in any concrete, efficient manner. But if you're allocating 3 people to the left, you're going to lose a lot of your jungle and your middle walkers. So it's a very tough spot for bots to be in right now as the Bola into the midair to stop the seismic slam from getting away.
Yeah, just on 15,000 souls. Unless you invested straight into that ultimate, you're not going to have the ability to have it unstoppable within it. And again, you see the chase here, and it's not really much of a chase. Kevin down to half HP just from running through the flame trail, the flame dash. Then we see the combustion come through, but it's not really going to stun anything because the shadow transformation was used as Crow's being forced back to his own base, and not in the way he intended, as he has to respawn back in. Abrahams get 2 quick kills here on this lane, and the fight's not over just yet, ZP.
Well, Billy with the chain gang, but when you're this far behind, you're just chaining people in to be more efficient at killing you. This game is pretty much about as far gone as it gets for being 18 minutes in, a charge in from being met by a Bola by ABL, and yeah, Bean can sort of be in the area, but at this point, the ability for bots to confirm kills is very, very hard to do.
Yeah, and honestly, I see the only way they can really get back into this is somehow My Name's getting really fed at the moment. But even then, the front line is just going to be slaughtered. I mean, look at Saint, 26,000 souls, and he's supposed to be the support of the team inherently within like the roles on the roster. Though the way he's been building is definitely that old style gun carry Ivy. I mean, he can pretty much 1v1 anyone, maybe even like 1v3 like we were talking about before with Jamside, though. Jamside going to be a little bit easier to escape.
Also, for those wondering on builds, it is a full Spirit Viper build is where we're at. So it's not the Gun Viper build. It is more so ABL playing a build that lets ABL just continually roam and create opportunities as Jamside hits the crouch key at Mach speed.
I think his crouch key's broken, guys. I don't know what that is. That's not allowed in some esports.
What was that, a macro to like crouch that quickly like that, or that was just incredible button mashing?
He's been training his pinky finger his entire life at that moment.
I mean, those were some quick squats.
I need to get me some of those. Looks like Crow, well, I was gonna say survive, but eventually gets sniped out, and the lead continues to grow. Over 40,000 souls now in the lead for Abrahams, and it's really showing no signs of stopping. What was the time? I think Puck had 22:30, you had 23, and I just split the difference at 22:45.
Yeah,
looking like there's a chance we might be right here.
Well, you got the mid boss coming up. The question is for Abrahams, how quickly do they want to end it? They're so far ahead that they could just take this and camp for throne.
Oh my god. Oh, he got tethered. He didn't have a chance to seismic slam in. Not a single rejuve crystal being taken. The hex thrown out, at least onto Jamside to buy some time. The time is not going to be on the side of bots. It's just Crow and Ruben trying to survive, running back in towards their mid lane walker. The chase down out of Jamside is going to be here. The Spectral Assistant will buy some time for Ruben, who goes back towards the mid pit, and I think Jamside knows exactly the direction he was looking to go.
28,000 at the moment for Jamside. Also, back into the middle. Taking a look at Tass, looking for a little battle versus Sinclair. Back and forth, swap comes in. A little bit of magic of Tass's own, and Ruben not going to have anywhere to go at the very end. The final pick off here. All walkers now gone for bots. Now getting picked up by ABL, and again, if bots looks to contest the urn, it's going to end in disaster. 2 rejuve crystals and this level of soul lead, you simply can't fight that.
I think I feel like they almost just have to try, because if they're being forced to defend a siege coming out of Abraham's, I don't think there's any realistic chance they can defend it, and they're going to lose stage 1 patron, they're going to lose shrines, and maybe the game from there. So I feel like you almost have to make your last stand here towards this urn turn-in. As we can see the way the position, it's not really going to be happening, at least trying to be the one-man army, going to be getting caught out here, trying to retreat towards the safety of his team, but there's just more enemies in front of him. He eventually goes down to together, and the fight going to be kicking off with a chain gang. A good pull-in on multiple players out of Abraham's, but you don't want them in your face, you want them away.
You just see the stat difference here where the chain gang comes in, and that would have been a great chain gang if the game was remotely even. But Jason, it's not remotely even. The other team has way more souls than you and rejuve. You get both rejuve crystals out, but you lose 4 people in the process, and needless to say, the base is going to get crunched as a result. Both shrines are going to go down. First stage patron is going to go down. Abraham's may back out after first stage patron, though, to do another round of jungle and then go in for the final push.
Can we actually maybe get a quick check-in on Saf and what item he's been going on the Vindicta? Because I'm also like really curious to see, with Vindicta getting some more player recently, and obviously the changes coming through, as well as the items, would we see... Okay, so it's still going to be like Spirit. Interesting, but does have the max level ultimate. No, not max level ultimate. So not even going for the Assassinate build, and not even maxing out Crow either.
The important thing for me here is that you also get the rescue beam on top going. Look, if you're going to be in the air, why not have the option to pull anyone out of danger if they go a little bit too deep? I mean, probably more intended to help ABL out. It's just the game has been so one-sided that ABL hasn't really needed the protective nature of the Vindicta, pull ABL out of bad situations, because nothing has really been a bad situation for ABL and the Viper. And actually, on that note, could we hold tab for a moment? I'm just curious what the amount of kills are, because ABL got a ridiculous amount of killing blows at the beginning of the game. I wonder what the final tally is at the moment.
Don't know if we're allowed to show that on Twitch. Might be against the TO. Oh my god, he connects on a Ruben with a petrifying bola, and he's gonna fall 49-7. Wow.
Well, Crow picks up 1, but that may be all they pick up here. Task goes down. See Saf just scouring the skies. And Jamside actually going to be the one doing a lot of the heavy lifting here on a 33k Infernus. 5 down for bots. And surely this is the end now approaching. But at 23 minutes, I had the time prediction at 23. It's looking pretty close to the mark here, Jason.
I mean, is 30 seconds close? I guess technically it is. It looks like Abraham's, though, going to finally go for the finish here, take down the patron, and Abraham's will take down bots in a best-of-1 advance once again to play against Buff Enjoyers.
1,500 people watched that beatdown over on twitch.tv/Deadlock Night Shift. Shout out to the 1,000 over on YouTube and everyone tuning in on kick.com. We are partying with ZP and Jason Kaplan on the mic tonight, and the Abrahams are going somewhere they're very familiar with. That is the championship matchup here for Night Shift. This time, it's shift number 9. ZP, who earns your MVP? It wasn't the Viper, sadly.
Whoa.
10 gifted stays in my pocket.
Oh no, it is going to be the Viper, because I think going in for ABL, it was the part where we haven't seen Viper in a while. Viper gets changes and gets played, not only does well, not only crushes lane in a way that we haven't really seen a Viper do before, but then plays a Spirit Viper who, after they get the first lane, roams around essentially as a playmaker, making every lane absolute hell for bots. I mean, that was a very active Viper, not a Viper interested in getting farm, but one interested in keeping the tempo up for Abrahams the entire game long, and it was really, really successful.
I like what we're going to say here. We're going to take a look at some of the best moments from this game. The whole team looked like they were just having fun, Kaplan. You called it at the start. You saw the composition. You thought maybe they're not taking their opponents seriously. Was it a comp surprise? Was it just individual performances? Why did this work for the Abrahams?
I don't want to be mean, but
Be mean. They're head and shoulder above the competition because no one really has a team outside of them.
That's the problem. If you look at EU compared to NA, I think between the best team, or like maybe the best two teams, and the rest of the teams, EU, like the gap. Stop licking me. The gap is so different between the two. Whereas NA, things are a lot closer. There's so many different teams that could easily pull off a victory here in the night shift. And then EU, it's just two teams. But I think a lot of it's skill difference. I mean, obviously the Viper. No, I don't even want to say that the Viper is necessarily like a crazy pick that could potentially have caught bots off guard. I think it was more of just like ABL and Jamside just that good in lane that they could overpower and then knew how to take that advantage further on into the game.
ZP, thoughts on this one so far?
I just want to see if Abrahams does the same draft strategy going up against Buff Enjoyers into the money match, because it was a super interesting take. I also do love the idea that, normally you expect Saint to be the one playing the supporty things. Saf runs this Vindicta build that, is kind of a mix of everything, but also grabs the rescue beam. And while we didn't really see a lot of even fights here, I like the idea of you run the Vindicta, you have the rescue beam, and you basically use it as a safety valve to get something like a Viper out of danger when necessary. So the approach to team fights in an even game for Abrahams is something that I think could be really interesting if they come into the next game with a similar draft.
I just hit all the spammers with the ban. I feel all powerful. That's how the Abrahams must feel after taking care of business against the bots. Now it's Buff Enjoyers Abrahams round 9. Ding, ding, coming up. Kaplan, as we take a look at our MVP, though, you said it might not be the Viper. You were showing love to other characters, but at the end of the day, 10 gifted is 10 gifted. We'll do anything for free subs, and ABL will get another MVP award. This is number 27 for him on our 9 episodes.
Anything for subs.
Well, we were like risking eyebrows. We turned ZP into like a green man for a little bit. Jake was going to wear a Catwoman costume.
I mean, we did
Batman.
get the 1K just a few weeks too late for him to wear the cat suit.
Was a little late. Late for the cat suit.
I think what I am enjoying seeing, though, at least here in this with ABL getting the MVP, is the fact that we had some changes. Kind of took it to heart and started to invest some time into some other heroes that potentially could be the new kings or queens, in Viper's case, of the meta. I'm really curious to see, like as ZP said, is there an opportunity to see something similar to this in the Buff Enjoyers matchup later on, or was this just cockiness out of Abraham's? But that's what I like about the night shift so much, man. We get to see, some similar teams on similar skill levels every single week. Every patch that comes out, it changes up the meta. We get to see the teams reflect those changes, and then immediately get to see those in my own pub games and get absolutely smashed by the overpowered stuff.
ZP, we haven't seen a lot of Viper in comp. That's according to the chat. What do they bring ability-wise? Would we see it in a championship match coming up next against Buff Enjoyers?
I mean, I think what we saw there is that with Viper, with the changes, you're bringing a lot of shred, you're bringing a decent amount of disable, and actually quite a bit of ability to shift a team fight with the Bola. So, I mean, you saw how ABL played it. ABL is playing it super aggressive, super divey, and it went from laning phase throughout the entire course of the game. So Viper was effectively getting played as, one of the most aggressive playmakers that we've seen in a way that would almost be a playstyle similar to how you'd run something like a Holiday in ages past, but almost more in your face with more team fight impact.
I am terrified with the use of AI tonight. My eyeballs are more straight at the camera than Jason Kaplan's, which can never be done. Even when he's looking at the dog, he's looking at you guys at home. Hey, cutie. What's your dog's name, Jason?
Oliver, and he does not wear a shot collar, so don't call me Hassan.
Not yet. You're about to become a full-time crew member here. We're going to a break before I get fired. When we come back, we'll be talking Twitch terms of service, how to treat your animals, and who is going to win in Deadlock Europe. We'll be right back.